You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Okay, guys, welcome back to a Life in Ruins podcast where we investigate the careers of those living a life in ruins. I am your host, David Howe, and I am here with Dr. Carlton Shield Chief Gover and the other one. And today we have all just gotten back. Well, Carlton has stayed in Colorado. Connor and I just left Colorado. And as you heard in the previous episode 107 with Dr. Todd Surville, I told him that we were surprising Carlton for his graduation. And Carlton apparently wasn't surprised because his significant other and another friend's significant other ruined the surprise. And either way, though, he was happy to see us. I think that was the story. This is dragging on as an intro. But you guys, what I want you guys to take from this is that I have had probably 4 hours of sleep since Wednesday. We're recording this Monday night. Carlton has had a weekend, and Connor has certainly had a weekend as well. You guys want to take over from here?
Yeah, so it's also episode 108. I don't know if I have Rona or if it's a sinus infection, but I feel horrible right now.
Dude,
pretty sure this is a fever dream.
Probably just like catching
I didn't
up,
even
man.
drink all that much, but yeah, it was like 4 or 5 days of like nonstop hosting and events and.
Yeah, man, you were busy.
Oh God, I'm so glad it's over. I need to put my house back together. It's still a mess.
Yeah, I'm still trying to put my life back together, but you know, that's for another podcast. I flew out at like 3 o'clock this morning, dropped David off at the airport at like 7 o'clock last night. Yeah. Stayed up late every night. You know, normal things you do when you're 30 and you shouldn't be able to do it.
I'm surprised that we made it till like 3 a.m. Friday night.
Yeah, I think me and Connor and Alex. Actually, I should say that Alex and Connor didn't necessarily leave. Lauren and I left and brought Connor and Alex with us.
Yeah, we were non-willing participants to leave said gathering.
I was good. I was like just buzzed for the entire night until towards the end I took a whiskey shot, and that's what did me in. But it was great seeing everyone. It was like super weird to see all my different circles in one place. Yeah. People that I don't normally associate with one another all there.
It's like a wedding. Like you just see so many different people.
I guess I don't have to have one of those now that I had my graduation.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
By the way, we'd never met Lana in person. She is a lovely and human being.
We are very proud of David for his last episode. He did not call any of us. I thought at some point you were just going to call me and be like, everything's broken.
He's stuck in the green room.
He's stuck in the green room. He started his own podcast.
Yeah. He was like, wait, what is it? I was like, just hit no on that. Yeah. So guys, first of all, this is going to be one of those episodes where it's not a normal one. So this is your first episode. Just go ahead and retract. But also, a lot of people know this. We do the whole podcast remotely, and it's like I'm in Tennessee right now. Carlton's in Colorado. Connor is in Washington, and like we got to do the whole thing via remote. And when we do the podcast, Carlton has it down to a science. Well, we can talk to them about the letters and all the formal stuff that we do. But I just want you guys to know, much like a stewardess or a steward or a flight attendant would be the word, the gender neutral on Southwest Airlines. Carlton takes all of our guests through an in-flight menu before the podcast, and it is down to a science. And like, I would have you do it because I know you know it by memory, even in the state you're in right now. But the guests don't need to hear that, the audience. But essentially, it's just saying like, hey, so this is going to happen. You can hit this button to mute. You can hit this. If you raise your hand here, let us talk. At any point, if you want to say something that you want to retract something, just take a step and say 3, 2, 1 and go back into it. And like he has it so down, and I'm boring the shit out of all of you guys. So anyway, what else can we talk about? Well,
we did an experiment with Devin yesterday on so we're recording this Monday, May 9th. And
here we go.
Wait, can we talk about how when when we get together, we don't record things because we have too much fun together that we can't even possibly think about sitting down and making a podcast. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we have to because we're only ever together for like such short periods of time,
and we're just
we'd rather like have fun and hang out rather than. And every time we always have something like we were supposed to go to Meow Wolf this past weekend. Last time we were together, we got stuck up on a mountain. Like every time we're supposed to do something, like it just does it. We get thrown a curveball.
So like a video logger or someone to follow us around.
Yeah,
it's just shenanigans. I mean, we would be canceled immediately for
anything that we say can and will be used against us in the court of law.
100%.
Carlton, did we tell you about this? I mean, it's appropriate enough. It's public safety. Did we tell you about the child in the hotel room?
What are you talking about?
So Alex and Lauren and me and Connor are sharing a hotel room. And as soon as we like finally all stopped laughing about them trying to get me a mail order bride, or can't remember what they were trying to convince me to do. I was on a level. We just start hearing a child like screaming from another room. And this is like 1:32 in the morning. And like, I was like, okay, it's a nightmare. I had nightmares my whole life. I know what this kid's going through. He'll be fine in like maybe a minute. Like another minute went, and like, it was like death screams. We're like, oh my God. So I stuck my head out the door, and it was the neighbors like next door in the hotel room. And I heard them screaming. I didn't hear like any hitting or anything like abuse wise that I, could hear. Like it was just screaming, and it sounded like a mom just being like, please go to sleep. And I was like, all right, this is fine. Like they'll go to sleep. I went back to bed, and then you just hear and like screaming again. And we were like, my brother's gonna be freaked out, and just kept screaming. And then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna call the office. And I like called the office, and I was like, hey, there's a child screaming bloody murder in the room next to us. Can you like what? And she's like, I'll be right up. And like went to go check it, and I stuck my head out again because I heard a door open, and some old lady that was in a room down the hall was there, like very concerned, and we like looked at each other like, uh-oh. And I said, I called the office, and she was just like, she waited there until the office lady came, and then the scream stopped. But a guy walked into the room, and he's like, man, she's just on a tantrum. And I was like, oh, all right. It was a 30-minute tantrum. Yeah.
Well,
So-
and to put some context, Lauren, who is Alex Crabe, has been on 2 episodes or just 1?
I think 2. Yeah.
I think 2.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, she was kind enough to book this place for us. Just was trying to find something cheap. And she has a history of booking places next to areas that are maybe not the most desirable. And
It was not the nicest area of Denver, I'll say that.
it's like right off I-70, right off by Thornton, and it was the place you'd expect to have domestic violence or child abuse happening next door to you in a hotel room.
Did I tell you guys I saw a gang shooting in Denver before my graduation?
You did tell us that. I saw a drug deal. We'll go back to that. But yes, please tell the audience about this. Carlton can't get away from it, guys.
I just cannot. And we still haven't talked about the Cancun trip either.
We got 8 minutes. Let's do it.
Oh gosh. So like I was driving home Tuesday from work at Denver Museum of Nature and Science, pulled up to a light, and I was like talking to Phil, who was we're like coordinating me picking him up the next morning, and I heard what the Cancun police would describe as signs falling down, and I was like, oh, here we go again. And then I heard like 3 more, and I look over, and just like there's 2 kids in a car, hands out with sidearms. One guy, the driver, had a sidearm, and he was firing at the car in front of him. Guess he killed the driver. And once my light turned green, it was like a busy ass daylight intersection. Once my light turned green, I zipped out, called the police, got home, talked to a detective, and he was like, yes, so you've given the most descriptive account so far. We're going to need you to come into Denver HQ and like do a statement. I'm like, doesn't that only happen if someone's dead? They're like, yeah, someone's dead. I'm like, oh, sweet. So then I drive back into Denver during rush hour and like sit with this
PhD
detective
studying human behavior. So of course you gave like the best one. That's really unfortunate, actually.
And it was kind of funny because I'd be sitting there and like, so this is what I know is fact. And like, this is my conjecture. And he was like, dude, I love the fact that you like are telling me what you know and then what you reflected on. I'm like, yeah, man, that's just how it goes. And he told me I was his best witness ever. So
Good for you, man. Sorry you had to see that though. It's like wild.
Yeah. So next week, Carlton's dropping his new crime podcast where he just recounts through every episode where he almost gets shot and or killed. I think he's already up to like 3 seasons full of content, possibly, at this point.
If I see a mass shooting, I fill up my bingo card.
We need to talk about Cancun.
Oh, Jesus, Cancun. Yeah, so that happened, I guess, over a month ago now. We talked about it. Yeah, so we talked about it a couple times on the podcast, like without going into detail. But this happened when I was coming home from Cancun at the end of March, and like we're pulling up to this terminal, and people are like already running out. My taxi driver's like, "Wait here. I'm going to find out what's going on." And I get out of the car and I like pull my bag. I'm kind of just like trying to flag people down. And he's like, "Okay, it's, so I pay the taxi driver. He's like, it's going to be $50. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Well, pay me and then I'll tell you." So I pay him, and then he gets in his taxi and fucking drives off and just leaves me there. I was like, okay. So I'm standing around with like people are running out of the terminal, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, of course, it's an international terminal. And someone's like, there's a shooting in the terminal. And I was like, should we leave? And like, we start backing off. Then like airport personnel come out, and they're telling us, no, it's fine. It's fine. Like one of the metal detectors malfunctioned and like popped. Was it a shooting? As he's saying this, like this family is like running past me. He's like, that's not what happened. That man had a gun, and they just kept running. And I was like, that's weird. Would someone in Cancun lie to me? And so just kind of waited there. Federales and the National Guard show up. They like lock down the terminal, but then they start letting people in. And I'm one of those folks that like go in to check my bag. And sure enough, I like get my bag tags, and I hear shooting.
Somebody was getting tagged.
Yeah. And I heard shooting again, and I was like, I look up towards security where the shots are coming from. People scream, and the stampede just happened, and I booked it out of there with my giant pink duffel bag. It was the scary part was the stampede, like that amount of people just like running. And you can see videos on YouTube. And I also had a really good Instagram story, and I was able to flee the terminal, but while that was going on, taxis and buses kept pulling up and like dropping people off at the terminal. Like the National Guard, nobody closed anything down. There was no like road security. They just had like a bunch of people with guns running into there, while clueless tourists were also running into there. We're trying to tell people like, hey, there's a shooting, don't go in there. They're like, but wouldn't the road be closed down? We're like, we're not in America where that kind of thing happens. We're in Mexico. I don't know. It took like 3 hours to get back in. Nothing was delayed. And the official story from the Mexican government was that it was signs that fell down and created a loud noise and created panic. But like I saw ambulances carried bloody bodies away. So
heavy sign.
They were
big old signs.
Looney Tunes.
Signs were looming over them.
Oof.
But like, yeah, I mean, that was crazy. Like nothing was delayed, and it was immediately within 2 hours, things were locked up. They'd shut down the cell service and Wi-Fi for a bit. Like they locked everyone out. So like, I didn't actually see a gun, but I know what gunfire sounds like. And there's 2
You're
shooting
well-versed.
events, and it's like, yeah, so like, I don't know, but that's how my Cancun trip ended, was me like terrified on a plane trying to get home.
Yikes, dude.
Haven't had nightmares or anything. I like talked to my therapist about it.
That's good.
It's like, because my stepdad was in the State Department, and before I'd gone, he basically gave me the State Department info on what's been going on in Cancun. And he's like, Carlton, as long as you're not buying drugs, I'm not going to kill you. Most violence in Mexico is cartel on cartel. Like, that's just how it goes. So when the shooting happened, I was like, I'm safe. They're not going for me. Why would they? But it was the stampede, like trying to get out of the way. Cause I was like hiding behind cars as people are running past me.
Yeah.
And there was this point, kind of like looking back on how kind of calm I was. I mean, there's absolute panic at one point, but I was like trying to get past this lady, this older couple, and I got caught up in her bags. And she looks at me just terrified. I just stopped. I'm like, no, it's okay, ma'am. You go ahead. Like, please. And just like kind of let her get out and just stood there.
You see there's some nice Jersey boys that helped you out too?
Yeah. So as we were
Pauly D in the situation.
Yeah, trying to get as we're like waiting to get back in the terminal. And the reason why I went back is I wanted to get home so bad. Like the fact that everything had happened, I was like, the safest place I'm going to be is back in this airport and get out home. Whatever's happened has happened, but I don't feel safe here. And I met Don and John, like Don, D-A-W-N, Don and John, married couple from Trenton, New Jersey.
Don and John.
Don and John.
Don and John.
So there was a flight to Newark. And so like there was a bunch of Jersey folks. And so I was hanging out with them.
So they're used to it.
Yeah. And we all had this, like, we got everyone to put their bags up against the wall. So if we had to dip out again, we could just turn around and book it. And so we're kind of passing the word along. But here's another part. Like, so the Mexican government would have us believe that it was like panic and hysteria. So as we're like back at the terminal, as someone's unloading a car, one of their bags like pops onto the sidewalk. And immediately my brain goes to like, oh, here we go again. And like you hear screaming and people like it, like a wave just start to like book it. And we were able to calm everyone down. Like, no, it was just a bag. It's fine. So like, I have a hard time believing that if a sign fell over at security, that same reaction wouldn't have occurred, where it's like, oh no, everything's fine. It's just a sign. Like the fact that security also took off and then the National Guard and Federales like came in.
I mean, Mexico is like known for its like upstanding government and lack of corruption and or
it's the antithesis of a narco state. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
A world model in dealing with crime.
It's interesting you mentioned I know we got to wrap up here, but like the Stampede thing, because I had a book I bought at the Scholastic Book Fair as a kid that was like a survival book, and it had like a camouflage like coating on the book, or like a cover, I guess. I don't know. It was nylon. It was like a tent. And it was all like how to build fires, how to build shelters. And I realized probably why I have that like ingrained in my head, like to be interested in that. But one chapter of the book was about stampedes and how to like protect yourself in a stampede. And like, I never thought about that being like a hazard, but like as an adult watching stampedes and stuff, like especially watching like Ukraine and the train stations and stuff, I was like, oh damn, that is like a legit concern. And then Astro World. Oh yeah. Like really you can't do anything but like put a bag either on you or on top. I can't remember what it was. The situation is don't be in it.
Yeah. If you can. I mean, I would have thought more as a kid that quicksand was going to be more of a problem later on in life.
Right? They really make you think that. Worse than like, heroin's bad for you is quicksand.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know why. It's like, I was always worried about quicksand and lava, but you get to an adult now, it's like other crazy things.
And because you made it this far, you wanted to be in quicksand. And on that note, we will end this segment. We will be back with episode 108 of A Life in Ruins podcast. We have 3 brain cells left, and we will be back.
4. Welcome back to episode 108 of A Life. I almost said 1 of 8 too. 108 of A Life in Ruins podcast. We're here with Dr. Carlton, Shield Chief Gover, and Connor. And Connor John, and map expert extraordinaire. I had painted Carlton a rock art of the Pawnee flag, and I just put it in a little pouch thing to travel in, and we were wondering like maybe we should put it like in a gift bag or something like that. And then Connor and I were like, well, we can't. I can't say this.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Say it.
We can't wrap it in a blanket. And then
there's some historical precedents that allows us to not suggest that we put it in a blanket.
And I felt terrible about that. And I was like, this is the bad history of blankets. But then lo and behold, at your graduation party, you were gifted a blanket by your indigenous family. So I felt better.
Yeah, no.
It was a beautiful blanket.
Yeah, blanket giving is a huge part of our culture. And I got another one the next day at my American Indian professional certificate ceremony. So it was like, and the reason why, I can only bring so many people, and I didn't know that David and Connor were coming, but it was like that whole graduation week was Thursday morning, the big ceremony at Folsom Field at like 8:00. I led the whole procession. Like someone tried to cut in front of me. I'm like, no. Because PhDs were first, like right after faculty. So I like made sure I led the way.
Good.
And then did that whole thing. And then anthro ceremony was at 4 later that day. So that's when we did the whole thing. And then after that was a small reception. And then after that was a secret reception for PhDs with just like the PhDs, their family, and the faculty. And so the first day, of course, was from like I had to be on campus at 7:00. So from 7 to like 10 p.m. And the night before, my buddies from high school came in. Phil flew in Wednesday morning, and then Sean and Mike caught red eyes, and they landed at like 1 a.m. Thursday morning. So I had to go get them, bring them back, try to get sleep, do that whole day. Then the next day was the museum professional certificate. That was from 1 to 4. Then came back, had the cookout, saw you guys. I thought that cookout went really well. There was like 36 people there.
It was really fun.
Yeah. And then that didn't end until like 3 a.m. for most of us. And then at 9 a.m. Saturday, we had the Indigenous ceremony. So like we were running on fumes by that point. And like some of us, like, because we're all 30, you know, like it was that realization that you just can't do that anymore. And like we did our best, but like Saturday was a rough one.
We also like revert to like earlier stages in our life in college where we think we can do these things, and you know, we certainly can't.
Yeah, my high school friends, my fraternity brothers, like you guys, like there were so many stimuli, but I didn't get blackout. I was.
No, you were pretty there, dude.
I had to be. And when you talk to a million people, like it's.
Yeah, that mentally takes it out of you. Yeah. I think I had
Tito's that. Go ahead. The amount of Tito's that you went through a whole jug of Tito's, and I didn't know that was physically possible to go through that in one night.
Because a bunch of people were taking. They were doing half shots. They were filling the shots half with vodka, half with lemonade.
Okay.
But they had a lot of people do it, so it wasn't like just straight hit it to the face. And then like I had that cooler full of really good beer, and I kept telling people like, "Hey, that cooler is just for me and my friends. Here's a cooler for you to put your stuff in." So as we got home, like all the good beer is gone, and I have a cooler full of like shitty seltzers and Coronas. Basically, everyone just like dropped me off their shitty beer and like took all my good stuff. So now I guess I have stuff to bring to the field with me.
Oh, that's good.
But
yeah, those little 21-year-old field school students will.
They don't get any.
They don't.
All for me.
I think I had like, and I always worry because when I come back from sea level, I think I'm like either below or at sea level here in Nashville. When I go out to visit you guys, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I had like 5 claws and like 2 other of those like pineapple margarita seltzers. And then was it your aunt or your cousin?
Oh, Sita.
Offered me. She was like, cheers. And then just gave me a shot. And I was like, all right. And I had another shot. I believe I browned out because I wrote a lot of stuff on your whiteboard that probably shouldn't have been written on a whiteboard. But I was like coherent. I probably could have driven. And I was very proud of myself. But I think seltzers just genuinely don't get you as like messed up as beer, I guess. I don't know.
No. So my sister-in-law, Sita, who is in her 40s, is just anytime I go to a party with her, she's like the antagonizer. She
seems so sweet about it.
She's so nice. But like she came back with us. So it's like a party full of like upper 20-year-olds, lower 30-year-olds. And then there's my sister-in-law who had brought her 21-year-old daughter, my niece, in, and just like getting everyone to do shots and like pushing them to drink more. And everyone's like, who is this woman?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I love her to death.
I will say it was, and I know we talked about this before, at least David and I did. It was really interesting that David and I feel like we immediately got along with your friends.
Yeah,
like
I wanted to bring that up too.
Yeah, like our humors, like we just show up. What were they watching? They were watching G.I. Joe.
Like the YouTube G.I. Joe dubs. And like it takes a specific brain of like person on a spectrum to like enjoy that kind of content. And like I was like, okay, I immediately know that these guys are okay. And that's why Carlton is this way.
Yeah, they mentioned that. They're like, dude, we got along so well with your podcast friends. Like, no wonder that this is why this happens. And I'm like, I guess I do have a certain characteristic friend type. But yeah, no, it was like really cool to see everyone get along and like enjoy each other's time. And then like some dude I haven't seen since senior graduation, turns out like sells houses around here. And he saw a bunch of us in one place and like rolled up and was like, what's going on?
Oh, was that Pauly D?
Yeah, K-Rod.
Okay, yeah. It was K-Rod, that was his name. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. And like culturally it's interesting to me because like I think it was either a SpongeBob joke or something like that. Like we quoted SpongeBob, definitely South Park. And like they immediately across the room, like your high school friends like knew that joke and like repeated it back and laughed. So it's just like millennials can like completely identify each other just based on one very obscure SpongeBob quote. And that is really funny to me as an anthropologist.
or you do your
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And like he immediately knew like the episode of South Park, and we just went off about it.
man.
Yeah, dude. But your graduation, like, or your ceremony was awesome because it's like we got to see all of your indigenous family that I still can't really figure out how. Jerry's my friend who's Chinese, traditionally Chinese. He has 1,000 uncles. Everyone's his cousin. And I also learned that in indigenous culture, that is also the same thing. Like you were explaining to me that you just call everyone who's not your grandmother, but like that a grandmother or like an aunt, uncle, cousin or whatever. So yeah, it was cool seeing all that. And then like friends from your department that were there, and then your friends from high school. And then like we know Autumn and Devin. So it was just like a cool thing. But so I'm getting derailed. But yeah, like you do a lot of stuff, dude. And like one thing I talked about most people with that night was how like, and you just mentioned it, you went to like 3 different ceremonies for different things you've been doing. You do the podcast, you worked at the museum, you almost got cartel hit in Mexico like a week before. And like, you just do so much stuff and you work so hard. And like all of your family was there, just like, it was cool, man. Like you were just like, it was pretty awesome to see. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We're super proud of you, man.
Yeah. Proud. That's the word I'm going for. Yeah.
Yeah. I was even so proud of you that we started a fight about how at the end of the night about how
Okay, at the end of that.
We influence, how we influence the podcast. And I was like, no, Carlton, you do more. You're the man. You're like, no, no, you do more. You're the man. It's like 2:00 in the morning, like 2.
And I came out to the tail end of that, and I was like, honestly, guy, like I opened up the door, I came out, and I caught the tail end of it. I was like, I know what this is, and I was like, guys, you guys can do the podcast complete without me. And then you both turned and like finger gestured to me. Don't even start.
You go back inside. It's not your turn yet.
That was really funny to me. But yeah, I was trying to herd cats.
That was weird because I was just like, there was a part I was just on the deck by myself, just kind of reflecting, and like one by one, friends came out, and we just like had those drunk chats, and I felt like the Godfather in The Office. I was just like a really bad version where I'm just sitting on a cooler, like pulling out ranch water, because everyone just comes one by one to talk. Yeah, it was fun. But fun. No, I appreciate it. Like I love, it's fun. Like I don't see it as hard work. That's what. But there was that realization. Yeah, I enjoy it. Like I had a lot of fun doing all the extra stuff I do. So I don't consider it work because it keeps me like activated in that way.
Dude, like you got like we were all congratulating you like on like I gave that speech about like the podcast and like seeing you grow up and stuff, and like honestly made me kind of emotional when you're talking about your stepdad. Like I was like, damn. And like your mom, like he was crying. I could tell you were trying to not, I should say. And then like your indigenous family, like giving you like the blanket and stuff. And like, I don't know, it was just like really cool to see like every aspect of your life, like how proud of you they are. Yeah. I
wasn't expecting speeches. I thought we were just going to do cake. So I really didn't have anything prepared. I just tried to like not ramble on too much, but no, dude, it was cool to see. And the gifts I got, cause I got that blanket, and then my other brother, Phil, the one that gave the speech, he gave me an eagle feather and some medicine. And so that was like really cool to get. And no, it was a fun time. It was a fun time. Man. And I'm surprised like we didn't tear the place up. Like right before 10 o'clock when we had to dip out, we had everything put away, brought back up to the apartment. The next day, my neighbors came up. They didn't say anything about the party, but like I guess I'd left a cooler drain open. They're like, hey, it's dripping. So this morning I left a gift card, $100 gift card to Starbucks for my neighbor downstairs. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry about Friday night. I just got my PhD, so I had all my friends and family here. Thank you for being chill about it. I know you have a new kid and you could use this gift card.
Caffeinate that baby, dude.
Caffeinate the baby.
I don't think you can do that. You can't do that to the baby. But that shows your kindness, Carlton, and your care for other people, and we appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
Also, I know why your stepdad hated me, because he was part of the State Department. He knew I was doing illegal stuff.
Your stepdad was a cool dude.
Yeah, he was. You guys got to see Don again. We haven't seen Don since.
Oh, Don Corleone.
Since
who is Don?
COVID
NASA
days.
guy.
NASA guy, my first roommate.
Oh, right. Yeah, he was there for a bit.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Oh my God. So like Carlton down hanging out with us right now. He's running off doing something else. And this guy just walks up. He's got a hat on, he just looks like a Boulder bro. And he comes up, he just makes eye contact with me. I don't think there was any like recognition in his face or anything at all. He just walks up to me and he's like, is Carlton around here? She's like, yeah, he's back up there, nice to meet you. He's like, I'm Connor. He's like, I'm Don. And he's like, oh. Oh. So I don't know if we've mentioned this on the podcast, but
this was pre-COVID.
And this was the night we recorded.
This is like a month before COVID. This was the last time. Yeah.
Because I remember being sketched at the airport because like some people were in masks and I was like, uh-oh. Anyway, Connor, you can tell it. I can tell another angle.
Yeah, no. So we were filming. What did we film? We did a review of Alpha that we never produced anymore because we just got obliterated.
Yeah.
And then we also did an Instagram Live where it ended by us starting to take shots.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
So that's where the night. Yeah. That's where the night was going, and then Don shows up later. After those activities keep continuing, less so on social media, more so just in the sadness that is my life. We order pizza.
We had a 52-inch Cosmos pizza. Like the thing was as big as a Volkswagen Bug. Like it was the biggest pizza known to man.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about that. And I had just done like 6 months like pure gluten free and you guys like eat this pizza and I was like, all right. Like it didn't add to like the help of the night. But yeah, Connor got he got a little not sober. And your roommate came in and he was I don't know now, Connor. I don't know if you want me to tell a story. You can tell what you want.
Let's just say I made a big fuss and leaning back in a chair and just fell on my ass and was just like just a mess. I was just a mess. It was it
wasn't anything too bad. Like I forget what Don's ex-girlfriend came up somehow because I think something had just happened, and you were just like,
yes, this is like, what I remember.
Yeah, and so you're just like giving him supportive comments. You're just like, no, dude, you're way better than her, and just like you just met the guy, and you're just like, no, fuck her, dude. And then immediately you just like lean back in the chair and you just like fall over, just smack your head on the back of the concrete, and we're like, oh God. And Don's like, is he okay? And I'm like, I think so. Like,
what I remember was like you saying like he was like, no, I think you're a great guy, dude. And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm terrible. And then like, it was just so like like to us, it's like funny because that's our humor. But then Don just like looked at me and Carlton so concerned. Like you were just
he's like, what is this guy?
Yeah, Connor was super self-deprecating.
Well,
anyway,
that's how my humor goes. Especially when I drink, it's like I'm happy, intense. All of these things mixed together in this lovely sort of way.
Alcohol is a depressant. So, I mean.
Yeah. Anyway, I am reminded every time, and not specifically you guys, but just archaeologists in general, when I hang out around them again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely a culture of drinking.
Alcoholics with an archaeology problem.
Yeah. And like my high school friends, like, aren't like, they'll drink and stuff. But I was like, but then like when I hang out with my archaeology friends, I'm like, okay, I gotta like, let me drink a beer before I fly out because I gotta get used to this again. This is probably really depressing for the audience. Anyway, we can stop talking about all this. None of that matters. But I guess the main thing was we did that experiment, which we might as well start in the next segment, I guess. But
yeah,
I'm brain farting.
No, absolutely. I think we'll actually talk about archaeology here in the next segment. Yeah, so we'll be right back with episode 108 of A Life in... I said 1 of 8 too. Damn it. 108 of A Life in Ruins podcast.
Welcome back to episode 108 of A Life in Ruins podcast. We are here with Dr. Carlton Shilchief Gover and Connor Johnen. No guests, just us. No shoes. So Devin Pettigrew, Dr. Devin Pettigrew, he's been on the show a few times. We're going to have him on again here soon. Brilliant dude, like has an absurd knowledge of atlatl, was like, hey, we're going to do an experiment do you and Connor want to come? Carlton's coming. I was like, yeah, sure. And he gave me a GPS coordinate up in the mountains. And he was like, yeah, just park here. It's on the side of the road. And it's like a short hike up to this hill. I was like, all right, cool. I didn't pack cold clothing, nor did I pack any hiking shoes. I need to just pack hiking shoes when I go out west. It's a thing I got to do now. But not only was this not a short hike, it was like the steepest hill I've been on in a while. And like, we didn't know where you were because like it was too far to like call for you. And Lana was like, they went up that way. So like, I just followed a game trail, and eventually like one of us shouted and we heard you guys, and we got out there and I was just like, and like Lana stopped and like took a puff up of her like vape pen. I was like, how are you doing? And then we finally all got up there. We get to the top and I had to like lay down for a bit because I was just like, oh my God, I cannot do altitude anymore. And Devin's up there just hammering away, making up the targets and stuff like that. And we start setting up for this atlatl experiment, which we'll get into. But to my surprise, I'm standing there just talking with them, getting my camera stuff ready. Donnie Dust just shows up out of the woods up the hill without even like breaking a sweat, nor was he panting. And he's like, what's up, guys? And he came right up and just threw his shit down and gives Carlton a hug. And he's like, doctor. It's like the most
that pat on the back almost made me throw
experience.
up. He is so strong that he just bear hugs you and it like hurts. And like, as I'm a big guy too, and I usually don't get hurt, but like I'm terrified of like Donnie Dust hugging me because there's just so much man in there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the only way he can make an entrance though. You know, if he showed up like in a car and just like walked out, like it just wouldn't feel the same. Like I want him to be like stalk up against me and like, you know, put a knife to my neck and be like, gotcha.
I mean, the kid's a former Marine, so he could have, but yeah, he was up there because Devin, so a paper came out. We'll talk about this when Devin's on here, saying that for the one sentence thing is saying that Clovis people couldn't have been hunting mammoths with Clovis points or atlatls, which is just total and complete shit. Because like we've seen it happen, or not like a live mammoth, but like we've seen them go into an elephant before, and you guys have thrown them through a bison, in which we've seen it's on YouTube currently. Anyway, so we was there to do that, and of course, like I'm a atlatl dude. Connor's thrown them before. Carlton's obviously you're pretty good at it, dude. Yeah. And he had three of us up there and Donnie throwing them to test velocities. Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty cool.
We also had Chance and another PhD student, Mike, right?
I couldn't remember.
Tom. So Tom, there was Tom. So Devin's thing, Donnie, me, Lana, Phil, you two, and then Chance and Tom. And so the point of it, as David said, there a paper came out that basically said there's no way Clovis point and tipped atlatls could have killed mammoths. And the way they did this was by firing Clovis arrows off a 35-pound bow into clay. And like, there's so many problems with that. It's like you can't fire, like modern day bows are meant to fire modern day arrows with arrowheads from 100 to 300 grains. Like that is what they're designed to do. You throw anything larger than that on there, it's going to absolutely destroy the ballistics because those arrows and bows are designed to fire much smaller broadheads. Like it's a whole issue. Like, and we see this, you know, archaeologically, we know darts varied in shape, size, and length. And also, you know, the mechanics of a bow are not necessarily analogous to the mechanics of throwing an atlatl dart. No. And so what Devin wanted to bring us up there for, with all the different cameras in the backdrop, was we all threw different weighted atlatl darts at a target, and we're just trying to measure the velocity so we can get the joules off of it and basically get some preliminary data to show daddle to show that indeed, yes, you can actually get these things moving at a speed. And in previous experiments, we had already shown that. So in the bison experiment that we have a YouTube video on that probably should get redone at some point, I'll have data already showing that we can throw some of those darts with over like 400 joules of energy. And we told that to Donnie, and he's like, I don't know what a joule is, but awesome science. And it's just like, we're hoping to get a paper out of it and just to be like, no, actually you can. And that's one of those things like we've talked about. And I'm sure, you know, Dr. Serval in his episode last time, you know, the whole overkill hypothesis is like fundamentally rooted on the fact that people could use Clovis tipped atlatls to, you know, murder hobo their way across the world.
Yeah. That episode, well, I guess when this is out, it'll have already been out. It's the previous episode if you haven't listened to it. But yeah, it was fun, man. I was taking pictures and stuff for the paper and like different angles of the experiment and stuff. And like at one point, Connor was like, "Why don't you come over here by the target and get some good shots?" And I was like, I shouldn't get that close to. You know what? It's Donnie Dust. If there's anybody I trust to hit this target with an atlatl, it's Donnie Dust, and I'll stand right next to it. And I got some sick shots.
I'm really disappointed. You didn't bring up what I actually said. I was like, I know this is going to sound sexual, but do you want to come over here and get some penetration photos?
That's right.
That was you had everyone dying.
Yeah.
And also, this is like right after the whole weekend of festivities. Like everyone was like trying to recover.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I was going to say it was really interesting to me to have the dialogue going between. And that's what I basically was. I just was an observer, and I was watching the dialogue between Devin and all the throwers, Devin and Donnie. The knowledge that you guys have accumulated and we're trying to understand is like the stuff that isn't quantified in this paper. But like those conversations to me were super interesting, where you're talking about this dart flies better with this atlatl, or this one goes here, or what Donnie specifically found one that he was like really dialed in with that he called Delilah.
That's right. Number 7.
But then he also showed me how like if you wiggle the atlatl and wherever the flex is, you want that on its side. So you want the stiffer parts because not all wood is equal, which is like duh. And I was able to, once I figured out which side needed to be pointed up, I could throw those things. But man, that 400-gram dart,
dude,
that thing was heavy. Like I've never done it before, but I had to hold it with my other hand, my non-firing hand, and like throw it up just so I can throw the damn dart.
I couldn't reach it. It was too tall.
Yeah, but that one, the penetration power, I pulled every single time I pulled it out, retrieved it from it. Like I ripped out all the components.
Yeah,
like and it was definitely, you didn't get that wiggle as much that you really see on like the arrows. Like it was a very like, what is it, like frequency? Is that what they call it?
The
flex.
Yeah,
flex.
the spline.
Yeah. The spline. Yeah. It was much.
And they traveled
because you're
so
essentially
much
throwing
slower.
a javelin.
Yeah. Like, it was weird. Like, cause that really light dart, cause we were all using heavy atlatls with banner stones, and like none of us could throw that damn thing.
It was heavy, and I lobbed it right into the target when the cameras weren't rolling, and I was really bummed about it. But my favorite part of the whole thing, and just Devin being Devin, he has like just a bandolier of atlatls. I can only explain it as that. Like there's like 40 of them, and he just rolls them out onto like a blanket. And I was like, "Hey, do you have one that's like an Aztec one?" And he just like roots through them, and he's like, "Yeah." Hands me this one. He's like, "It's actually based off like the codices they found in Munich, and like, you know, it's actually built exactly." And I was like, "All right, that's fine. I just want the Aztec one." And I think Lana was like, "You throw them so fast," and I was like, "Yeah, I just pretend they're Mayan captives." Or like, Aztec captives. I don't remember what I said, but yes. So for whatever reason, I did well with that Aztec one. It was really cool, just the way it threw. Yeah.
And so we're gonna have Devin back on. He's gonna run the data. So we're gonna have Devin on to talk more critically about the paper itself and what we're trying to do. It's just nice to have Devin, because Devin is kind of like right now like one of the leading experts in like ballistics, and not only ballistics, but like how to make analogous.
He's the atlatl guy.
Yeah. And how to make research projects that are analogous, that actually capture what we're trying to capture. Because so often, like, there's a reason why throwing things into clay isn't good, or even like some certain ballistics gelatin, which he found out through some of these experiments with the high-speed cameras being able to detect how they interact with the dart. So like he's learning all this stuff. And so just having him at our fingertips is incredible. And then we all dipped out early. We left Chance, Tom, and Devin up there because I had to go to Colorado Springs, and David, you had to go to the airport.
I did. I learned there's an In-N-Out in Denver. We went to there. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And I got some message requests being like, "Bro, you're in Cali?" And I was like, "Nope." Specifically said here at In-N-Out Burger in Denver, Colorado, not a palm tree in sight.
If you haven't watched the video, he does a cuisine.
Couge.
Hey.
Are you guys Whataburger or In-N-Out?
I've never had Whataburger.
Whataburger's good. In-N-Out's like it's a cultural thing. Like if I'm in California, I'll hit an In-N-Out. If I'm in Texas, I'll do a Whataburger. But I believe Whataburger, I think, tastes better.
Yeah, they have a larger menu, and they have like really good breakfast. Like
you got to know like the secret menu of In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
The secret menu in In-N-Out is just goofy. It's like animal style, 2x2, 3x3. It's like it's really
the
not
protein
that
animal style. We saw a kid just destroying like a lettuce wrapped burger.
Yeah,
like it was
protein style. Yeah. So I want you to take that burger, go in the back, and piss on it. 2x2, 3x3. Throw it with the animals. Get it to be wild.
That's
What?
That's the In-N-Out order. That's how you order.
Oh, right. The animals. Yeah.
They had one in Salt Lake City, and you could ask for fry sauce, and I was like super stoked. And all they did was just use Thousand Island dressing, and it was gross and made me throw up later. I'm like, that's not.
I think that's what
fry
animal
sauce.
style is. It's just like it's that with caramelized onions or something. Yeah.
No, yeah, the animal style has that sauce on it, but like specifically in Utah, there's that fry sauce culture, and I think they messed up when they first showed up with like, here's our fry sauce. It's like, no, that's just your animal style sauce, and it's disgusting with fries.
Got it. Yeah, and then went to the airport. I forgot my headphones. It was just kind of a miserable experience, but no, Boulder's like a lovely town. I like really enjoyed it there. A lot of homeless people.
Yeah,
the empanada place is good.
Yeah, it's so good you can eat it twice.
Yeah,
I love that empanada joint.
It's really good.
I have so many leftovers in my fridge right now. Like I should know by tomorrow if I got that job at IU. So by the time this comes out, I'll either be happy or crying.
Oh, we have to give an apology for something.
What?
Our latest episode is going to be released a day late.
Oh, but that would already be out.
Yeah,
by the time this comes out.
107, we have released late for once, and our 108 times doing this, or 107
we
times
had
doing it.
We had a busy 2 weeks. Like we've had like these past 2 weeks haven't been good.
I mean, there was a ball in which I may have not needed the drop, but I could have not dropped. But yes, but it was busy, and I was flying, and it was a 2-day turnaround.
It'll be fine. 1 day late, it won't destroy us.
I'm just formally apologizing.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, I guess that's true because like I do listen to a lot of podcasts Monday morning, and if it's not there, I'm like, oh damn. But then I go look for it again. So
no one's emailed us, so I think it should be okay.
That's true.
Wait, have we checked and see if people are still listening?
Unfortunately, they are.
Oh,
dude, have you guys seen the comet people are still on their shit? The impact hypothesis folks. We did the Hopewell one, remember?
Yeah.
They came out with another one, and they're just getting. I just don't get it.
It's a cult, man. People really like the impact hypothesis because it's like just because it's counter culture to mainstream archaeology. I don't know.
Because it sounds cool. Like asteroid comes out, wipes out civilization. It's like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
To the layman, it makes sense.
Catch all. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. Guys, I'm going to apologize on behalf of the three of us. The brain cells are gone. I'm
having fever dreams like while we're recording. Like
there were other funny things that happened this weekend. I'm not going to discuss the whiteboard.
I did tell everyone our dirty secret about how we have dark humor. So that cat is out of the bag. So we're sorry. At least I told Georgia and your other friend. I was like, oh, by the way,
Georgia's dope.
Yeah.
Go listen to her episode. She's the best.
I've yet to meet somebody with as much awkward energy as me. Like I said something and she like did like what's that little Fortnite dance?
I don't know.
I don't remember what flossing. Like, she just like I've never seen a 30-year-old person floss 40 times in a night. I think she's 28. Can't remember.
Do you want to talk about our experience downtown interacting with people?
Yeah, what did you guys do?
Yeah, I forgot about that. I thought you meant the drug deal I saw at the hotel because I did see that. But
that's what it is.
I parked and I was like, why are these guys staring at me so weird and so close to each other at the front door of the car? And I was like, oh. Yeah, I went downtown and I just interviewed people. I was like, what's it mean to be human? I think by the time this episode comes out, I'll put it on YouTube. But Carlton, did you get a chance to pop that? See the one I showed you?
Yeah, I think he had already showed it to Lana, so she was laughing.
Okay, so like I love Channel 5 News. They're all gas, no breaks, because like it's like such a funny style of like comedy for me, or like to me. And I was not expecting to get a person like that by interviewing, I think, 12 people. And everyone was like, yeah, I think being human's like, it's like loving God. Or someone was like, I think it's just like, being good to each other. And this guy's like, man, there's people, when the government's all done, they're going to be hiding out in the Australian outback. There's these underground bunkers. The sky is made of glass. It's going to come down. And the thing is, I thought this guy, like, as he came on so normal, like, I mean, I would say neurotypical and sober. Like, he seemed like a with it person with his first answer. He's like, yeah, be good to everybody. Like, there's no races, there's no ethnicities, we're all human. And then it just went off the rails. And then he would come back every 3 minutes and be like, so what's it mean to be human? I don't know. But then he would talk about like volcanoes, and like, it was the wildest interview I've ever had in my life. And I was trying my best to like hold it together. But the whole time I was like, is this man schizophrenic? Is he on acid currently? No, I think he genuinely believes these conspiracies, and he is a very intelligent man who does so. It's very confusing to me. But yeah, that's what that was. And that's why like I impromptu asked you and Donnie that up on the hilltop, which I also edited that in today, Carlton, because like Donnie gives an answer, and then like I go up to Carlton, who literally just gets his PhD, and you were like, I don't know. But it's because like you had no brain cells. And then 30 seconds later, you come back with like a dissertation of an answer. It's so impressive.
Well, I just needed a second because Donnie took all my answers when I was thinking. So I needed like a second to recalibrate.
Oh, and then Donnie takes the mic from you and then interviews you, and you're like going back and forth.
Like trying to eat the microphone.
It was really wild. So I was helping film, and the answers we got varied pretty insanely.
Yeah, it was like really interesting to see how people answered them. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna try that in Nashville and stuff, and I'll do one in New York when I'm up there next.
Oh, don't forget about the pigeons. We got the pigeons too.
Oh, I interviewed the pigeons. I interviewed that racist statue cow, the cow statue.
There's a cow statue, and David, I was just like random, like we just filmed pigeons or something. You like walking up to him, and I was like, go. I mean, and I walk up to the cow, or it's like, go ask the cow. And he said, what did you say?
I was like, what's it mean to be a bovid creature? And then I like put my ear up close to it. This construction worker's looking at me like I'm insane. And then I was like, that's a great answer. Real racist though. People just thought we were nuts. Yeah. And then we went and got drinks. That's right. Yeah, that was Friday for us. And I had woken up at 4 a.m. in Nashville to get on the plane. I flew out there. We met each other at 8 a.m. at the airport in Denver. And then we did that, and then immediately got drinks at like noon, and like 3 of them deep. I was like, we were walking around downtown just like already ready to roll. And we brought it back to alcoholism. And on that note, we're gonna end the episode.
Yeah, so thank you everyone so much for listening. Yeah, do that. If you're listening on the All Shows feed, please consider helping us out by going to our show, Life and Roots Podcast, subscribing to our individual show, and listening to us there. It helps us grow our audience and gives us data to give to potential sponsors and advertisers, so we can get better deals and make much more creative content. And the more money that our podcast makes, the more attention we get from David, and we need his skill set. So please.
No. Carlton, before we end, I just want to tell you, I know I said it like 18 times this weekend, I'm very fucking proud of you, and I love you, and you're a really good dude, and it like really showed this weekend.
No, I love you guys too. This was a lot of fun. I was super stoked to see you guys coming. I was like really happy that you guys were there. And I kept telling a lot of people, I was just like, I'm so overwhelmed right now, but I am genuinely very happy to see you.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, we're super proud of you, and you the reason this podcast does any good. And if you want to rehash that argument right now, I will start.
Fucking kill you now.
I will go get a beer.
I will talk to Georgia and have a drone set your way within 2 hours.
Hashtag episode 106 of Life and Roots Podcast. Check it out.
All right, guys. And with that, we are out. Thanks for listening to A Life in Ruins podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Life in Ruins Podcast, and you can also email us at alifeinruinspodcast@gmail.com.
And remember, make sure to bring your archaeologists in from the cold and feed them beer. A dung beetle walks into a bar and asks, "Is this stool taken?"
That's good, man. That's a good one.
All right, thank you, Connor. And with that, we are out.
This episode was produced by Chris Webster from his RV traveling the United States, Tristan Boyle in Scotland, DigTech LLC, Culturo Media, and the Archaeology Podcast Network, and was edited by Chris Webster.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.